When my husband Marcus, a dedicated high school history teacher, first mentioned a student named Sabrina having a crush on him, I honestly thought it was just one of those silly high school crushes that would fade in a week. He told me about how she leaned over his desk unnecessarily, making sure he noticed her low-cut tops. She would pretend to check her backpack for something and then invite him to come see for himself if she had the supplies. Sometimes she would send him late-night emails about homework that didn't need immediate answers. At first, I laughed it off. Marcus and I trusted each other completely, and we both knew the difference between harmless attention and something more. But Marcus, being a responsible teacher, decided to report it to the administration. That's when things took an unexpected turn. Instead of offering him support, the school administration began an investigation into him. Apparently, they couldn't wrap their heads around the idea that a male teacher could be on the receiving end of unwanted attention. It was as if they assumed he must have been encouraging it somehow. Marcus was frustrated, but he cooperated with every question they asked. Meanwhile, Sabrina's behavior didn't stop. If anything, it escalated. She started showing up in places where we never expected to see her. One Saturday, while we were at the farmer's market, she appeared out of nowhere, running toward us and yelling, "Mr. K." She was wearing a low-cut top that was completely inappropriate for a teenager in public. She smiled sweetly at Marcus while pretending I didn't exist. The following week, she signed up at the same gym we went to. It didn't feel like a coincidence. She even managed to accidentally spill water all over herself while standing just a few feet from us, laughing as if it were funny. After that, she began lingering in coffee shops where Marcus liked to grade papers. She showed up at bookstores we visited, and even on our regular dog-walking trail. No matter where we went, she seemed to appear. She always had some urgent question or request for Marcus, even outside of school. I started to feel uneasy. Then came Marcus's 40th birthday. We decided to celebrate with a quiet picnic at our secret spot, 40 minutes from town, on a Thursday afternoon when she was supposed to be in school. To my shock, Sabrina appeared, walking straight toward us in a flowy sundress, as if she belonged there. Without asking, she sat down on our blanket. She laughed at Marcus's jokes, reached out to touch his knee, and without hesitation, took one of our strawberries and slowly ate it. When we began packing up to leave, she grabbed Marcus's wine glass, took a sip, and winked at him in front of me. That was the moment I knew things were not just going to go away on their own. The next morning, I went out to Marcus's car and found black lace underwear in the back seat. At first, I was frozen in shock. Then I remembered the dashcam Marcus had installed for safety. We checked the footage, and there it was, Sabrina breaking into his car at 2 a.m. and planting the underwear. We took everything straight to the police. They promised they would investigate, but weeks went by with no real update. Soon after, Sabrina went on medical leave from school and vanished from Marcus's classes. We thought it was over. But months later, I spotted her in the grocery store with a noticeable baby bump. Something about it didn't seem right. By spring, the bump looked bigger, but I noticed the shape had rigid edges, like some kind of padding. I started looking at her social media and realized she had multiple accounts, each with different stories and different due dates. Still, the police told us without direct threats, there was nothing they could do. Then came Memorial Day. It was windy, and I watched her fake bump shift slightly, the edges visible under her dress. Even so, rumors started spreading around town that Marcus had gotten her pregnant. We began avoiding our normal routines. We changed gyms, started shopping at different stores, and took different walking routes. I began picking Marcus up from school every day just to avoid any chance encounters. We started keeping meticulous records, photos, videos, witness statements, anything that could help later. For our anniversary, we booked a dinner under my maiden name at a nice restaurant, hoping to have one peaceful evening. But when we arrived, Sabrina was there, seated alone at the table right next to ours. Before we could leave, she stood up and screamed that Marcus had gotten her pregnant and promised to leave me. She pulled out a fake ultrasound with Marcus's name written on it in thick black Sharpie. Every head in the restaurant turned toward us. We left immediately and drove straight to Detective Rivera. Rivera said we finally had enough evidence for harassment charges. She arranged for patrol cars to pass by our home at night. That evening, Marcus broke down completely. He cried harder than I'd ever seen him cry, saying that 15 years of hard work were being destroyed. The next day, his principal put him on administrative leave after receiving calls from concerned parents. From there, things spiraled fast. Sabrina's mother, Laura, showed up at our house, screaming about stress-related complications, but carefully avoiding actually claiming her daughter was pregnant. Teenage boys cornered Marcus at Walmart, calling him the pedo teacher and throwing soda at him. Sabrina then posted a viral TikTok accusing Marcus of grooming her since she was a freshman. I dug deeper into her social media and found multiple conflicting timelines for her supposed pregnancy. Even with all that, Rivera said the prosecutor wouldn't press charges without a direct threat. Our lawyer, Brooks, filed for a restraining order. In court, Sabrina flipped the narrative and claimed she was the one afraid of Marcus. We spent hours presenting evidence, including the dash cam footage of her breaking into our car. In the end, the judge issued a mutual restraining order. Marcus was devastated. Outside the courthouse, he punched a parking garage pillar so hard he broke 2 fingers. We put up more cameras at home. We stopped going anywhere alone. We started talking seriously about moving out of state. Then Brooks called with a shocking update. Sabrina's lawyer had sent a settlement offer. Marcus should admit to an emotional relationship and pay $50,000, or she would keep pushing her accusations. I went back through old online posts and discovered she had done this before, accusing at least one other teacher of the exact same thing. Not long after, Marcus's dad came to visit. He told Marcus about the time he had been falsely accused of theft 40 years ago. "You survive it," he said. "That's all you can do." 2 weeks later, the school board held a meeting about Marcus. 8 parents called for him to be fired. 4 defended him. Laura stood up and waved the fake ultrasound in the air. That night, I found another teacher from Sabrina's past who said she had tried the same scheme on him, fake pregnancy and all. The stress nearly broke Marcus. In therapy, he admitted he'd thought about ending his life. Then Sabrina violated the restraining order by joining our gym just 2 days after it was issued. She was arrested immediately. The next morning, she appeared in court without the pregnancy padding, claiming she had miscarried due to stress. Rivera discovered the ultrasound had been downloaded from a pregnancy website just weeks earlier. One day, Sabrina's mother confronted me in public. I loudly asked which pregnancy she meant, May or January. Slowly, public opinion began to shift. 2 other families came forward, saying Sabrina had harassed their daughters. The school board still didn't have enough to fire Marcus outright, but they recommended he remain on leave. We subpoenaed Sabrina's psychiatric records. The files revealed she had been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, had a history of obsessive attachments to teachers, and had made similar false claims at 3 other schools. The judge ordered an immediate psychiatric evaluation and extended the restraining order. Former students wrote a public letter defending Marcus. Despite all of this, Sabrina, now 18, emailed Marcus hearts and wedding venue links. This finally provided the direct threat evidence the prosecutor needed. 2 months after the restaurant incident, Sabrina was arrested again. We joined a support group for families dealing with false accusations. The school board announced Marcus would be reinstated after the criminal case was resolved. Her psychiatric evaluation confirmed she understood her actions, but preferred living in fantasy. The prosecutor offered her a plea deal, 2 years probation, treatment, and a public recantation. She refused, insisting she had proof. As the trial approached, Marcus took online teaching jobs to keep busy. Then Sabrina violated her bail by launching a website full of fake evidence against him. Her lawyer quit the case. For the first time, Marcus began looking at houses near his school instead of planning to move to Canada. For months after the restaurant fiasco, jury selection began. The prosecutor presented 18 months of stalking, with dates, witnesses, and evidence. The defense claimed Marcus had confused a vulnerable teen. Marcus spent hours testifying, reading hundreds of increasingly obsessive emails from her. He showed that his replies were only about schoolwork and always copied other teachers. We had gym records proving she joined after seeing us there. We had security footage of her following us. We had dashcam video of her breaking into our car. I testified about the fake pregnancy belly, the planted underwear, and her public scenes. The defense tried to frame me as a jealous wife. I told them I wasn't threatened by someone who had to break into our car to leave evidence. The courtroom gallery murmured in agreement. Her psychiatrist testified that she had fabricated relationships before, including one with a female teacher in middle school. Social media posts showed 3 different due dates for her supposed pregnancy. Under cross-examination, Sabrina couldn't name a single time she and Marcus were alone. She couldn't explain how she knew about our secret picnic spot. She couldn't produce a single gift or piece of proof. Her mother claimed Marcus had seduced her baby girl until confronted with texts where she begged Sabrina to take her medication and admitted she was lying. The jury deliberated overnight. The next day, they returned a verdict guilty on all counts: felony stalking, harassment, and filing false reports. At sentencing, Marcus spoke about losing his identity and career. I spoke about living in constant fear for over a year. Sabrina was sentenced to 1 year in county jail, 2 years probation, mandatory psychiatric treatment, and a permanent no-contact order. A month later, the school board reinstated Marcus with full back pay and issued a public apology. The civil case settled for $50,000, which barely covered our legal fees. We started therapy together, slowly letting go of the hypervigilance. Marcus even gave a district-wide presentation on recognizing obsessive student behavior. On our next anniversary, we had dinner in peace for the first time in years. 2 months later, I found out I was pregnant. We posted the ultrasound proudly for everyone to see. Marcus returned to teaching full-time. Some parents pulled their kids from his class, but most supported him. Sabrina was reportedly living with an aunt in another state. 7 months later, our daughter was born, perfect, healthy, and ours. The nightmare finally felt like it belonged to someone else's life. We had survived by holding on to each other and refusing to let a lie define us.